It begins in a moment you know too well. You glance at a photograph, a fleeting capture of yourself, and for an instant the world seems to judge you. Your eyes are too small, your jaw too weak, your smile too forced, your expression too human. And in that instant, a storm rises inside, a quiet panic, a surge of shame, a sense that you have been exposed, not just in this image, but to the world itself. But what if I told you that every photo that ever made you cringe, every reflection you have ever despised, is not a condemnation, but a message? That the discomfort you feel looking bad in pictures is not about vanity, nor the tyranny of social expectation, nor the lens of a camera. It is about truth, your shadow, and the subtle whispers of the self you refuse to see. Every photograph is a mirror, but unlike the mirrors in your bathroom or the ones in your home, a photograph does not lie. It cannot flatter. It does not obey your ego. It captures the unfiltered vibration of your being, your presence at a precise moment, stripped of pretense. And when you look bad, it is often not because you're unattractive, but because you are resisting something deeper, something ineffable, something that stirs in the shadows of your psyche. Carl Jung called the shadow the hidden, unacknowledged parts of the self, the traits you deny, the fears you bury, the truths you refuse to own. They gather, they fester, and they manifest. Sometimes in your dreams, sometimes in your thoughts, sometimes in the way your body carries tension, and sometimes hauntingly, unmistakably in photographs. When the camera captures you, it does not lie. It simply reveals what your own consciousness often refuses to acknowledge. When you feel you look bad in photos, it is a reflection not of imperfection, but of incongruence. You see, humans are endlessly complex. Your mind projects, your ego performs, your spirit vibrates at its own frequency. And when any of these elements are out of alignment, when you hide, when you fear, when you resist, the lens captures the disharmony. The way you slump, the way your eyes avoid contact, the rigidity in your jaw, the tension in your shoulders, these are not flaws. They are signs, signals from your own unconscious telling you there is more inside you you have yet to meet. And here lies the paradox. The more you resist, the worse you think you look. The more you hide, the more unflattering the reflection becomes. The more you fear judgment, the more visible your inner fractures become. The photograph is not your enemy. It is a teacher, and it demands attention. The spiritual meaning of looking bad in photos is the invitation to see yourself without defense, to observe your own energy, posture, expression, and presence without ego judgment, to recognize that the camera is not capturing your aesthetic alone, but the state of your consciousness in that precise instant. It sees what you feel, not what you pretend. It reveals what the world cannot lie about, your inner alignment or misalignment with yourself. Consider this: the photographers of the past, the portrait artists of the Renaissance, the painters of kings and queens sought to capture more than appearance. They attempted to capture essence, soul, presence. A modern photo, no matter how digital or instant, carries echoes of the same principle. And when your essence is clouded by doubt, by shame, by fear, or by pretense, the image reflects it, not because you are unworthy, but because you are unfinished. The first step toward liberation is awareness. When you look at a photo that unsettles you, do not recoil. Do not swipe it away. Do not apologize to yourself. Instead, lean in, study it. Ask silently, what am I resisting in this moment? What part of myself do I refuse to feel? Often the answer is subtle: a tension in the shoulders, a blink too fast, a grimace that hides longing or anxiety. And these are not flaws. They are messages. They are the shadow speaking in the language of the body, the expression, the moment frozen in time. And here is where transformation begins. The moment you stop judging the reflection and start listening to it, You align more deeply with yourself. The shame dissolves, the frustration eases. You begin to see that looking bad is simply a sign that you are human, fully alive, fully imperfect, fully conscious. That photograph, once a source of torment, becomes a mirror of initiation, a doorway into self-recognition, a signpost on the journey toward wholeness. Because the truth is this: the self, your deepest, truest essence, is never concerned with perfection. The self does not measure you by beauty standards or social ideals. It measures you by alignment, by presence, by authenticity. And when the camera captures the moments you resist, it is holding up a spiritual mirror asking you, are you awake? Are you present? Are you honest with yourself in this instant? When you begin to understand this, photographs stop being weapons against your ego. They become teachers of presence. They illuminate the parts of you that hide behind performance. They reveal the cracks in the armor, the fractures in the mask, the shadows in the psyche. And with each uncomfortable image, you are invited to integrate what you have denied. You are invited to bring consciousness into the corners you have ignored. This is why some of your worst photographs are the most valuable, because they contain data, spiritual, psychological, energetic data about the state of your being at that exact moment. They tell you where your energy is stuck, where your mind is contracted, where your heart is not fully expressed. They are the silent guides you never asked for, but desperately needed. The lens does not lie, and when you feel bad looking at a photo, it is not a condemnation. It is a call to presence, a call to truth, a call to awaken to the deeper currents of your own psyche. When you meet it with curiosity instead of shame, you begin to see a remarkable pattern. The more you integrate what you resist, the more harmonious your presence becomes. And the more harmonious your presence, the more every photo begins to reflect what is eternal inside you, rather than what is fleeting or unaligned. And this is the lesson few understand. Beauty is secondary. Presence is primary. The camera does not care if your jawline is perfect. It does not care if your teeth align or your posture conforms. What it captures is vibration, the energy you carry, the consciousness you inhabit, a soul aligned, a heart awake, a mind free of resistance. This is what photographs eventually reveal, and no amount of Photoshop, posing, or performance can replace it. This is why the spiritual meaning of looking bad in photos is not humiliation. It is revelation. It is the shadow speaking through the medium of pixels and light. It is the unconscious whispering. You have hidden. You have resisted. You have tried to perform. But now, face yourself. And when you finally do, when you confront the energy, the tension, the fear, the pretense, the resistance, something miraculous happens. You no longer look bad in photos because your alignment shifts. Not because your body changes, not because your smile becomes perfect, not because the world finally approves, but because you stop performing. You stop resisting. You inhabit yourself fully. And the camera, like all mirrors of the soul, simply reflects what is already true: presence, power, peace, authenticity. You see, every bad photograph you have ever hated is actually a spiritual checkpoint, a moment in time where the ego faltered, the shadow surfaced, and the self was waiting, patient, silent, observing. And each time you return to it, each time you study it without judgment, you take another step into integration, another step into wholeness, another step into sovereignty over your own energy. The body in the image, the posture, the glance, they are not your enemies. They are messengers. And when you begin to treat them as such, a profound shift occurs. The photographs stop triggering shame. They stop sparking irritation. They stop feeling like judgments against your worth. And in that shift, the deeper magic emerges. You begin to embody the truth that no external lens can ever distort. You begin to understand that your essence, your spirit, your consciousness, these cannot be captured, confined, or diminished by any photo. What is true within radiates outward. And as you align more fully with that truth, Every image, no matter how flawed, awkward, or unflattering, becomes a testament not to imperfection, but to authenticity. Because the spiritual meaning of looking bad in photos is this: the mirror is not against you, the lens is not your enemy, the image is not a verdict. It is a message from your own soul, a call to awaken, to integrate, to inhabit your full presence, to stand fully in the light and shadow of who you are. And when you finally understand this, when you finally embody this, every photograph becomes sacred. Every moment frozen in time becomes a teacher. Every glance captured, every expression arrested, every shadow and imperfection, they are not marks of failure, but footprints of awakening. You begin to see that you have been looking at photographs incorrectly all along, not as evidence of beauty, approval, or social worth, but as reflections of consciousness, of alignment, of truth. You see that the bad images are the ones most honest, most raw, most alive. And it is in these images, these honest, unposed, unfiltered reflections, that the self finally speaks. Because when you look bad in photos, you are not failing the world. You are confronting yourself. You are seeing the cracks in your armor, the tension in your posture, the resistance in your energy. And when you witness it without judgment, when you breathe into it and allow it, when you integrate what is shown rather than running from it, you become whole. You become free. You become present. You become aligned. And in that alignment, the photographs no longer matter, not because they are perfect, but because you no longer need them to be. They are merely mirrors, and the truth you carry within now eclipses every pixel, every frame, every fleeting moment captured by the lens. You understand that beauty, perfection, and approval are trivial. Alignment, presence, and authenticity are everything. And every bad photograph is simply a reminder, a lesson, a call to awaken. You see, the camera does not lie. It does not flatter. It does not judge. It only reveals. And when you face what it reveals, when you breathe into it, when you integrate it, you awaken to a truth far greater than aesthetics. The self, fully present, fully embodied, fully awake, cannot be captured, it can only be realized. And in this realization, a profound freedom emerges. A freedom from shame, a freedom from judgment, a freedom from the endless pursuit of approval. You are no longer bound by the images, the reflections, the fleeting perceptions of the world. You are sovereign. You are whole. You are aligned. And so, when the next photograph is taken, when the next flash ignites, when the next awkward moment is captured, you do not flinch. You do not cringe. You do not condemn. You breathe. You inhabit yourself fully, and you allow the camera to witness the radiance that has always been yours, the unshakable, undeniable presence of a soul fully awake. Because the spiritual meaning of looking bad in photos is not superficial, it is initiation, it is awakening, it is a call from your own consciousness to inhabit your full being, to stop performing, to stop resisting, to stop hiding, to finally, unconditionally meet yourself. And when you meet yourself fully, honestly, without defense, there is no photograph that can diminish you, no lens that can misrepresent you, no judgment that can define you. You are more than image, more than perception, more than reflection. You are the self, and it is radiant, it is sovereign, it is eternal. Every bad photograph becomes a milestone. Every cringe-worthy capture becomes a marker of growth. Every awkward angle, every uncomfortable expression, every unflattering frame, they are sacred checkpoints on the journey of consciousness. And when you honor them, when you integrate them, when you inhabit the lessons they hold, you awaken fully. You are free. You are aligned. You are awake. And the photographs, all of them, simply witness what you have always been. And as this truth settles into you, a new awareness dawns, subtle at first, like the faint light brushing the horizon before sunrise, but inexorable, unstoppable, relentless. You begin to see that looking bad in photos is merely the tip of a much deeper iceberg. It is the visible symptom of a hidden condition, the unconscious conflict between who you think you are and who you truly are. Every posture that seems awkward, every expression that seems forced, every fleeting moment that offends your ego, it is the body speaking before the mind can censor. The body remembers what the mind has forgotten. It remembers tension. It remembers fear. It remembers shame. It remembers pride, all coiled tightly and waiting for a lens to release it. A photograph is a sacred forensic tool, dissecting the unseen energies of your own being and presenting them without apology. And when you can finally meet that truth with courage, with curiosity, with reverence, transformation begins. Because here's the unspoken secret. Your reflection, in every mirror, in every photo, in every glance, it is never truly about what the world sees. It is about what you carry. The world is indifferent. It does not judge you as harshly as you judge yourself. You have been the strictest magistrate, the harshest censor, the relentless interrogator of your own image. The photograph is merely the evidence of what has been unclaimed inside, and what is unclaimed must be integrated. Shadow energy must be faced, held, and transformed. The parts of you that fidget, that shrink, that stiffen, that avert their gaze, these are not defects. These are fragments of a self that has been denied, fragments of energy that have been ignored. And the moment you begin to witness them without judgment, without self-recrimination, without the gnawing voice of ego whispering wrong, flawed, ugly, the photograph shifts from enemy to ally, from mirror to mentor. You see, there is a profound spiritual lesson hidden in the discomfort of looking bad. The world teaches you to perform, to pose, to impress. It teaches you to smooth over flaws, to manufacture smiles, to conceal vulnerability. But the self, the unconscious, the eternal, the authentic core of you does not perform. It simply is. And when it meets the judgmental gaze of the conscious mind, when it meets the unforgiving standards of society, tension arises, posture stiffens, eyes avert, and suddenly, in a photograph, the energy of resistance manifests visibly. This is why photographs feel cruel at times. They are not cruel, they are honest. They are the first pure reflections of the self in a medium that does not flatter, that does not negotiate, that does not lie. And when you resist these reflections, when you recoil from them, you resist yourself. You resist consciousness. You resist alignment. The path out of this is not perfection. It is presence. It is awareness. It is radical acknowledgement of what is the slump, the tension, the blink, the grimace, the shadow. You sit with it. You breathe into it. You name it. You allow it to exist without defense, without shame, without repression. And in that allowing, the energy begins to flow. The tension dissolves. The shadow integrates. And the next photograph, if one were ever taken, begins to capture not resistance, but alignment, not fear, but presence, not concealment, but the radiant, unshakable self. And here is where the modern seeker often falters. We mistake the photograph for truth. We mistake the lens for judgment. We believe that if we do not appear perfect, the world will reject us. But this is illusion. The world does not reject your alignment. It reacts only to the misalignment you carry within. The ego believes that perfection is safety, but the self knows that authenticity is freedom. The moment you stop defending, stop performing, stop hiding, the camera ceases to judge, the image ceases to wound, and the soul, the eternal radiant core of you, begins to shine, unfiltered, unmediated, and undeniable. Every time you have felt the sting of a photograph that seemed cruel, a memory flashes, the shoulders tensed, the eyes averted, the smile forced. And each memory is a teacher. Each moment frozen in pixels is an invitation to confront what you have denied. And as you do this, over and over, Again and again, a remarkable alchemy occurs. Your energy begins to align. Your body remembers ease. Your eyes remember depth. Your smile remembers authenticity. Your posture remembers sovereignty. And slowly, imperceptibly at first, but with growing momentum, your presence begins to radiate through the lens with power, clarity, and unflinching truth. You begin to understand the spiritual rhythm hidden in these images. Discomfort arises to teach. Disharmony manifests to guide. Misalignment reveals the path to alignment. Looking bad is not punishment. It is a call. It is a challenge. It is the quiet, insistent voice of the self urging, wake, notice, integrate, align. And as this truth anchors itself in your consciousness, the photographs begin to lose their sting. They no longer provoke shame, embarrassment, or self-loathing. They become data energetic markers, spiritual checkpoints, mirrors of consciousness. They show not what is wrong with you, but what is unclaimed, what is hidden, what is waiting to be integrated. And with this understanding, the freedom emerges. Freedom from the tyranny of perfection, freedom from the judgment of others, freedom from the relentless gaze of the lens. You become untouchable because you are whole, you are awake, you are aligned. And every photograph, no matter how awkward, unflattering, or bad, becomes a teacher, a guide, a milestone, a sacred reflection of a soul daring to inhabit itself fully, even before it is polished, perfected, or performed. Because the ultimate lesson is this: no lens, no angle, no pixel arrangement can ever capture your essence. The self, fully awakened, fully present, fully integrated, is uncontainable. And when you realize this, when you inhabit this, the photographs cease to matter, the opinions cease to matter, the fleeting judgments of the world cease to matter. What matters is alignment. What matters is presence. What matters is integration. And in this, every bad photograph transforms from a source of pain into a ladder of consciousness, guiding you step by step into the sovereign, radiant, unshakable reality of the self. And this is the alchemy that the night, the photograph, the shadow, and the lens conspire to teach. You are more than image. You are more than perception. You are more than fleeting approval. You are eternal presence. You are the self. You are awake. And so, when you next see a photograph that unsettles you, that sparks shame, that reminds you of every perceived flaw, you do not recoil. You do not hide. You do not judge yourself. Instead, you breathe and you see. You see the truth behind the image. That it is not a condemnation, but a mirror, a messenger, a call from your own soul. You see that the discomfort it evokes is sacred. That every awkward posture, every forced smile, every tension-filled glance is an invitation, an opportunity to reclaim what you have denied, to integrate what you have hidden, to awaken to the fullness of your own being. And in that awakening, a profound freedom emerges. Freedom from shame, freedom from judgment, freedom from the illusion that your value is tied to perfection, angle, or appearance. Freedom from the tyranny of the gaze, both external and internal. You are untouchable because you are whole. You are sovereign because you are awake. You are radiant because you have finally met yourself. Every photograph, no matter how bad, becomes a testament to this journey, a record of consciousness, a marker of growth, a milestone on the path to authenticity. They are no longer enemies, but allies. No longer sources of doubt, but sources of revelation. And when you understand this, you realize something extraordinary. The world has never held power over you. You have always been free. You have always been awake. You have always been the self. So let every image, every reflection, every captured moment be a reminder. You are more than appearances. You are more than perception. You are presence itself. And in the light of this realization, you move through life unshaken, unjudged, and unafraid, the radiant, sovereign being you were always meant to be. You are awake, fully awake. And now, finally, nothing can ever diminish that.